I don't believe you people.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
Huh? You people!
You people.
You people.
You people that
You
walk around
people.
with one blind eye.
You people.
You people that are knocking down Niagara Falls.
You people who destroy our city.
You people that are lying.
People. You people.
You people that would rather do drugs,
You
drink,
people.
steal, rob.
You people. You people.
You people.
You people.
It's time for you to go.
You people.
You people.
You people. You people.
You people. You people. Get the fuck out of this city and go ruin someone else's.
You people have been chosen to reveal our existence to the world.
Welcome to the edge of the falls. Welcome to the edge of the falls. You people have been chosen to reveal our existence to the world. I'm Brett Byro, a.k.a. the Madman.
And I'm Peter Green, a.k.a. the Mystic, and together we are
The Edge of the Falls.
Hey, Madman, welcome to 2021.
It's going to be a better year, I hope, Peter. So, I really hope that. So
Damn right.
Maybe some big changes coming. We'll see what happens.
Hey, that is true, and we are glad to be here. We're glad you're here as well. If you'll do us a favor and share this with other people in your Facebook realm, and let them know that we're on the air, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was in a little confrontation with some other, little sissified people, and I think they complained about a couple of my comments, and I'm banned again for 30 days. Just for calling some, little dweeb a puss.
Or calling a little puss a dweeb. There you go.
Yeah.
But no, this is going to be a great year. I really do hope that we climb out of the COVID thing. But to start with, let's talk about who's in the studio with us tonight. What do you think?
Sure.
Our good friend Vernon Lohan has joined us. I'm just going to get a camera up on him right now, and hopefully that'll let us see what this gentleman looks like. It's the second part of the two shows we invited him on, and glad to have him here. Vernon, we'll turn on your mic in just a second because I am...
Oh, no, they're stealing my guests.
Oh, no. Yes, that's right. We're stealing guests, are we? Yeah, we'll talk about that. I mean, whiners that they are. And there's Vernon. Hey, welcome aboard, buddy.
What's up?
Hey, how are you? Thank you for inviting me again.
Yeah, no problem.
It's good to have you back. And we also have in the studio Patty Hayes, who I guess I could do this. Bear with me here. There's Patty right over to the side. Say hi, Patty. Patty is a quiet, strong, silent type, but it's fun to have her here. She's been a fan of the show for like 3 years now. And we're in our third year. Could you believe that?
Oh, shit.
I know.
Time went fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that caught me by surprise when I seen this, season 3, episode 1. Holy shit.
I know. We started in 2019, and I was telling everyone that we used to do it as an audio-only podcast from my home. And it was great because we were talking about Brett's old squeaky chair, if you remember. And the one time we put a microphone under his chair to enhance the squeak, and it was so much fun. But no, we had a good time there. I was listening to some of the old podcasts that are still available on Buzzsprout. In fact, we're going to be reintroducing our Buzzsprout version in the near future. And it's just been... It's been a lot of fun, but it has been a rather interesting opening to the year, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I guess. I don't know. The saying comes to mind is often imitated and never duplicated. So I'm sure everybody that's watching, especially a couple of you turds out there, you're listening. You haven't seen anything yet, and we'll get into more about that, because the more I think about it, my blood is boiling,
Hey, someone said, "Hey, brother, roll the turd Wade." Well, let's talk a little bit about that. So last week, as people will know, something has happened here, and a couple of months ago, we got rid of a show. The reason we did it was because the host of the show heard something from someone else and immediately reacted on Facebook, threw up all these tantrums, which is the best way to describe it. And I realized when you've produced a show for someone for like 14 weeks and you've worked with them and helped them develop and grow, and that's their reaction when they hear it from a third party, we don't want that around here. We've got too good of a family. We've got 8 podcasts right now and more coming. And we don't want people around here who will trust people outside of their family before they'll trust us to at least ask us what was said. So we canned the show. That was Citizens Untied, Citizens United.
Yeah,
sorry.
Citizens Untied.
Citizens Untied, yeah, with John and Lisa. Well, last week they went to the air and said we've been left with no choice. And what they did was we've all seen parts of it. They went on air and they said that we had a sexual predator working here. Well, first of all, he wasn't working. He wasn't a sexual predator. He is a sexual offender. And I do not lighten the things. I don't like sexual offenders either. And Brett, you were the first one who said gone.
I'll wait until you're done and I'll chime in my piece.
Okay. So what happened was when we found out, we sat down and talked to him. He was never alone with children. I mean, our children's program is on a separate day, and there are mothers here. The other night, we played the interview with the moms who said they were never approached by this other podcast, by Citizens Untied, yet on their podcast, they say, we notified the parents, and they're vilifying us for doing it. No, we were vilifying you because you didn't notify the parents. You didn't notify us. You just wanted to spread something around that you felt could give you an advantageous position.
Where did this Kevin Hugh Carroll come from to begin with?
From John's show. John brought him in. There was a big
Okay.
flourish. I was
Just
watching it the other day.
Stick with. Go ahead. Continue.
Yep. And so he had Mr. Carroll in here for his show. They were talking about having him back. He started a show back in November. And he worked here, and there was a young person of 15 who was in the studio.
He didn't work here.
No, he didn't work here. He ran a show here. Pardon me. He was a host, and he paid for his show. But he had a young person of 15 who was running the engineering section, which is in a totally different part of the room. And both Ohio Barb and myself were here in the room. When we found out about his sexual offender past, then we suspended his show. We asked Carol Hugh to step away from it. Kevin Hugh Carroll, correct. And then we have Sam Archie has come forward with Sam and Dave are going to be hosting it. Your community accountability on Saturday nights. And from our first production meeting, it looks like it's going to be a really great show. So Carly Lapp says Citizens Unhinged. I love that.
Yeah. I love Carly. She's awesome.
And Tony in Arizona, I love Tony too. He says, lawyer up, Peter, if you think you're being falsely accused. Not really, because our lawyer is actually overseeing this.
We don't need a damn lawyer.
We don't need a lawyer. Last week on the show, I mean, I'm trying to paraphrase a lot of junk, but you had these three cackling idiots. It really was Wade Van Valkenburg, who is now the owner of the studio they work in, who took over the show. The best part, it's supposed to be Citizens United with John and Lisa. The best part was at one point John starts talking and Wade says, wait, Lisa's talking. Like, in other words, John doesn't run his own show anymore. So go figure. But anyway, so they come on, they start bashing us. They said that we had...
Wait, I'm talking.
Oh, yes.
No, go ahead.
Screw you, man. No, but in all fairness, don't we have a protocol that someone who's the host of the show takes the lead? But that's what Wade did, so I guess it's his show. So anyway, he and his two parrots come on, and they say that we had Kevin Carroll with kids alone. We never did. And we had the parents have to come on and make those statements. In fact, one parent said, we actually go overboard with our child safety regulations. So we did not have him with kids alone. We were always here in the studio. We ended his show. We didn't hide anything. But they had to make a big dramatic play of it. This was the schoolyard. This is where they feel comfortable. So the worst part was when they made fun of your dog, which they thought was hilarious. And because they said, oh, the dog died 3 times. And you were just talking to Patty, who was there the day with one of their hosts, when your dog suffered a seizure. Your dog didn't. It's just such crap that they're trying to turn into things that people will believe. But you can watch the show, and it's hilarious, man.
I have to make
go for it.
This one point really, first, quite clear that I love my dogs more than I love most people, and that crypto was, unlike any other dog, was kind of like a family member. Was that close to me, and he suffered seizures. And he had a brain tumor. So first, I'm going to back up just a little bit. So I guess I'll take over now because what the hell?
Yeah.
This is my fucking show.
I was going to say, I love dogs too. I sleep with my beagle every night.
The dog slept with me every night. Was like a son to me. really that close to me.
I always told people going into work, if I smell like a beagle, that's because I sleep with next
For
to
them
one.
to laugh and talk
Your
about
new cologne.
For them to laugh and talk about my dog dying, you can tell a lot about people on how they are with animals and stuff like that. And then Lisa the cackling hyena tries to message Patty and say, oh, I'm a dog lover, blah blah blah, but he used his death. Fuck you, Lisa, you're a piece of shit, and that just by you laughing about it shows exactly the way you are. John Restino, you already know fucking, I don't care what you say, how you say it, you're a bandwagon jumper, and all you want to do is ride Peter's skirt tails. Wade Van Fuckenberg, or whatever his name is, fuck you, you're a little bitch. When I see you, mark my words, and you're talking about getting a lawyer and doing all this stuff, when I see you, Wade, when I see you, I live at 3119 Portland Street. In Belden Center, everybody knows where I'm at. Guess what? All your little fucking faggot friends that are out there talking about, ooh, I'm going to come to his house, or I'm going to beat up Peter, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? There's my address. There's your open invite to come to my house anytime you want. I will bitch slap you like a little girl that you are. And if you ever talk about my dog again, I don't care what it is. If you had the nuts, post your address, because guess what? When I say I'm coming to your house. Other than that, you're a fucking disgrace for even doing that shit on your fucking on your podcast and talking about somebody else's dog. That dog meant a lot to me. I don't care who you guys think you are or what's going on. The fact of the matter is, that was a low blow. I didn't talk about you guys. It didn't fucking run you guys down. Fuck you. You guys are fucking pieces of shit. All you are is turd bandwagon jumpers, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Well said. That was pretty honest, and I'll go back into the description of the show. As I said, they made fun of Brett's dog. They said we hid a sexual predator. They said that we'd stolen money from them, and there was all this back and forth. It was like the little schoolyard. You've got the kiddies who were cackling away, and they were having a really, really good time. So as we're watching it, free speech. I mean, that's what we live for here. What we're noticing is that there's quite a number of things that are lies in this. One of them being that the kids were alone. They weren't. That we hid a sexual predator. We didn't. We'll talk about stealing money in a minute, because turns out Wade knows a lot about that. And the other part was, like, there they are trying to say that, well, didn't this company, referring to us, go after Nick D'Angelo, a sexual predator? Now, that individual is a sexual predator. And yes, we did go after him, but we loved how you added in, as we did as well. You did nothing about that. Citizens Untied did nothing about Nick D'Angelo. You're running around right now trying to come up with things on council members that you've been aware of for a heck of a lot longer than just recently. So who's hiding something here? If you think something's that important for people to protect them, act on it immediately. Yeah. But it's just this posturing that you guys come across as we get the most views. That's what you're worried about, not the quality of your programming, not the quality of what you say. And so one of the things we noticed was that when Wade Van Valkenburg started spouting back at us, he was using homophobic slurs. He says he was trying to make fun of me because I recently acquired a car and some business investment. And it's like, maybe your boyfriend will do that. Well, and he repeated that and was trying to use a same-sex allegation, if you will, as being something bad, and it isn't. I mean, I don't think the gay community would take lightly to that. But Wade, whatever you're using, it's like childish. You're in the schoolyard. And someone said, wonder what Wade is on. We wondered the same thing. He was pretty he was pretty sloppy there the other night. He sounded high or drunk, just sounded that way. That's a take, fair comment. Anyway, so we had them coming after us on all these points, which aren't true. And they brought up money, investment, etc. Wade gave us $500. And the reason is, when we met Wade, he was very excited about running a program for his kids. He has 2 children. They have they enjoy interacting with their father. They do programs together because they're homeschooled. Now, Wade was telling us that the state has a program whereby they have people who are trained and they become something like navigators. You know, we have navigators who help with healthcare. And in this case, these are navigators who would help parents identify and enroll in programs for their kids that are helpful to kids with disabilities or learning challenges, etc. So he called it the Starseed program. He was all in. He gave me $500 to acquire some additional equipment we'd need. And yes, I told him at the time, I said, great, I can pay a bill and then I'll get around when I get my funding in place, which we did, and we bought the equipment. Well, there's Wade telling us that we stole the money. Now, what's interesting is Wade did the training. In fact, the last we heard from him, he wrote to us and said, I'm almost finished the training. I said, great, we've got a new company that's going to oversee the kids program or be part of that to give us a 501c3 designation. We were all excited. Then I hear nothing. Now, all of a sudden, we've stolen money from him. Now, this individual appears to want to have his own studio. That's noble, admirable. Do it professionally. We're all for it. He also wants to guide parents to send kids to his studio. So kind of redirecting, like directing the state money his way. That seems to be what the issue is, because from that point, he just gave up even talking with us until this whole thing with John Rustino comes up with his show, with Citizens Untied with Wade and the Parrots. And that's really what it comes across as. I can't take it seriously. I'm not going to invest much more time in it right now. But then we went on to a search database, and lo and behold, I found a case from 2018 in which the social services here in New York State had to pursue one Wade Van Valkenburg because, and his wife's name's Amanda, and everything matched up in the case, because Wade received food stamps. This case is on the New York, the Supreme Court site. I've got it all downloaded. If you want it, send us your email address and we'll email it out to you. Pardon me, this was not an overdue bill, which is how Wade is spinning it to us. It's not an overdue bill. It is the government had to even say in this thing that he wouldn't respond and pay an outstanding debt of $1,400 for food stamps that he wasn't eligible for because he didn't report income his wife was earning from a staffing agency. So in any book, that's fraud. Because you are presenting yourself as eligible for something, getting it, and then they find out that you're not, and they pursue you for repayment, and eventually they have to have a judgment done. So that's what we brought up. Obviously, Mr. Van Valkenburg likes to, throw bricks in glass houses. He likes to call someone else a sexual predator who is a sexual offender, but he likes to maximize the impact of that. Well, we're giving him a taste of his own medicine. We've got it. He today was threatening lawsuits. This from the people who last week said they were threatening us with lawsuits. We don't listen to threats. Well, Wade, have your tantrums all you want. Bring on your lawyers. This is a case. It's public knowledge. It's a public document, and it's all public. So enjoy, okay? You are not perfect either. That's all I'm trying to say. Your people were talking, your parents were talking with you about saying we erase stuff from our website. Everything we put up on your website in the last few days to counter your accusations, you've taken down. Well, the nice thing we do, we always screenshot when we put it up, so I can put it back up for people to see, and we will. Because enough. Like, what are we doing here? Why are you so consumed with us? Are you afraid of us? Do you feel that we represent some kind of competition that you can't just put out of business by being the better company? I wrote to you both last week to say, why don't we drop this? I can send out those emails too. And they weren't threats. They were basically that we've got to start behaving as competing companies, but with professional recognition of each other. And instead, we end up with you laughing at that whole thing, telling me you ignore emails and laughing at Brett's dog and all the other crap that came with your show last week. And now you take down everything that was posted. And we've got it, like I said. So it's not like I can't prove it. It's not like I can say you took something down and, oh, woe is me. We've got it. So with that, we'll see what your next show, we won't see what your next show has because I really don't want to go through that. It was really distasteful. You could be better and more professional. You could have good audio and not have two people, well, one hidden in darkness and the other behind a cutout caricature of himself. But that's really what happened. And we find out that Mr. Van Valkenburg is not perfect. We find out tonight that Mr. Ristino loves to text people and say, don't go on that show. Don't go on their show. Sorry, John, they're here. In fact, the people you talk with are coming here to set up shows because they see the difference in professionalism. I'm not perfect. I don't have any skeletons in my closet. My real name is Peter Green. Okay? I don't have any of these issues. I don't hate my brothers. I don't lash out at everybody because I'm insecure. Okay? We run a program and we run a show. We try and have some collegial fun with you. Like we still own the Citizens United with John and Lisa YouTube page under that name. So for the last 2 months, you probably haven't even noticed, but it's been sponsored by the Little Bakery. So I hope you've enjoyed that because I think it's rather funny. And I think other people are chuckling too. But the point was we can antagonize each other. We can rib each other. We can be professionals and we can work together to make a better community here. And with that, that's about all I want to say. Vernon, you want to add anything? I know it's not your battle, and you don't have to, but did you want to say anything?
I'm trying to think. The only thing I thought that was a low blow, yeah, the dog. I mean, I'm a big dog lover myself, and if my dog, well, I'm sure he will pass away one day, but it'll be it'll be tough, you know, for all animal lovers out there. You know, it's tough when you lose a dog or even a cat. So I just think that was kind of like a low blow, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, why don't I show a very quick video of the laughter about the dogs? Because people are sitting there, maybe haven't seen it, etc. And I'll save you from having to watch the entire show. But it really was a low blow because we don't, you know, we know the level of class, or we know the threshold of what we can make fun of and can't. I know we even cross it sometimes, but just for those of you who haven't seen it yet, here's a little clip of them.
Yes. So keep it on there.
Right, and you know what's really, isn't it crazy coincidence how a dog dies for the third time? This dog has 3 lives now. Apparently they canceled the show over at Yowowa 2 days ago, claiming their dog died. But this dog has died 3 times in the last 5 months.
Dog has died 3 times. You know what?
I've only heard of the dog dying once.
Well, things do get confusing. I mean, you and I were talking before the show, and so was Brett and Patty as well, about the fact is that information, we're living in a world saturated with information. We hear things about people all the time. Today, one of my good friends wrote to me and said, "Are you in the building?" Because he has a space here, and he says, "People are calling me about what's happening with you and John Ristino." I said,
Right.
You know, what should I say? Give them my number. Pick up. You said yourself, Vern, that you pick up the phone and you call the person in question, and you have a talk about it. You get it from the horse's mouth, if you will.
Yeah,
and
I'm not gonna mention any names, but I that's a lot of people. They reach out to me and they they ask me a political question: is this candidate running, or something about that person or this person? And I just go right to the source, and then I get the answer they're looking for. But sometimes I wonder, like, why they're not doing that themselves, like why they're going through a third party, you know? So.
Well, exactly. And that, that's just it. We get information. Some people, they will see something. And here's a classic example. There's a thing called the Buffalo Chronicle. I don't want to give them any publicity, but the Buffalo Chronicle, outlandish stories, outlandish. So one of them a few months ago was that, I'm paraphrasing here, but that Tonawanda residents, not North Tonawanda, Tonawanda residents want to be able to reward police officers with sexual favors. Ooh. Now, you hear that, and Like, what the hell? They feel cops should be able to accept gratitude from people. This is what they're saying. So I looked at the article. There's no quote in it from any reliable source. They had some League of Suburban Women Voters that doesn't exist as having said something or supported it. So this Chronicle thing, this is what they do. They did one on turning Main Street into a red light district here in the Falls. They do this kind of thing. So anyway, they are so far-fetched. And when you're on Facebook, you see them writing these stories. And there are people those who share the post. Now you have people who are piping in like, oh, man, that's stupid. They should stop it. Like, it's almost giving credibility to something that doesn't exist. But it's what's happening today. People hear something, and they react to it before they understand it. Yeah. I think that happened between, it happens when John Rustino was told something and then immediately fills his Facebook with traitors and backstabbers. And I don't find out for 5-6 days that he's talking about me. And, I've only just produced 14 shows for you, at no cost, and tried to support him in getting his voice out there because, you know what? He does have a good show. I know that my associate doesn't see it the same way, but John can have a good show. When he brings on a clown like Wade on that thing, and Wade does everything from emulate somebody who's high to just saying stupid things, and he brings the stupid out in the two cacklers. They're parrots. He even like I said, he even tells John, "Don't speak." Lisa's speaking, and things like that. It's just, it's not his show. When you run a studio like this is the only show that I control with Brett. The only show I exercise control over. Talk to any of our other shows, and if you're watching, you can put in a. I know, Bill Kennedy. Take it easy. Don't waste your energy. It was such a fun day today, Bill, because we did get this, Brett, don't worry, Tony, Brett will be back, but right now, that was enough. I mean, he's pretty steamed. And Bill, today when Wade Van Valkenburg stands there, it's on our Facebook, look it up, you'll see it under one of the threads, and he is just threatening with his lawyers. We took pictures of it in case he runs in and kind of erases them, but he's erased everything else. And so, go get your lawyers. When I worked at Geico, it's funny, Patty and Vernon, I worked at Geico for a few years, and one of my favorite lines was when I talked to someone and said the decision was it was your fault, or they didn't like the decision that their insurance company was taking, etc. Their first reaction would be, "I'm getting a lawyer." It's like I'm getting my big brother who's going to come beat you up. Like, I'm getting a lawyer. You'll hear from my lawyers. And, I used to always answer by going, good. They know the law. And once we deal with a lawyer, we don't deal with you anymore. And that's the truth, is like to stand there and pontificate and scream and yell like a little kid because we call you out on something that is public domain, public documents. And then after you've done this to Kevin Hugh Carroll, and constantly called him a predator, where he is a sexual offender. He's not denied it.
That kind of reminds me of like when I work certain retails. You get an angry customer and you tell them like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't refund you," or we have this policy or that policy. "Oh, I'll never support this business again." "Oh,
good.
Okay, have a great day."
Exactly. You can be upset about something, but I wrote to Wade, I wrote to John last week, and then it was ridiculed that I did. So I tried. I've got everything. I've got every clip from their page. I save everything because it's things like this that lead to the need for them. And people go, "Oh, I wish I'd saved that." I don't make that mistake. I've got it all. And I welcome his lawyers, actually, because that would be a lot of fun.
And then speaking of Nick D'Angelo, I mean, he is a pedophile, but he has blocked me from both of the pages, the Niagara Reporter and the Niagara Action, because I go on my Facebook and I talk trash about him, which, I mean, call it trash, but all we're doing is speaking the truth, and I guess speaking the truth gets you banned from his page of him being sexually charged with rape and other sexual charges. So I guess that's my punishment of speaking the truth, getting banned from the Niagara Reporter, from commenting, or the Niagara Action. So
that'll ruin your day, won't it?
Yeah, that just shows you the kind of person he is,
Oh, my God. Patty, do you want to pipe in and say anything here? Hang on, I gotta switch around my microphone for you. Bear with me.
I just can't believe that anyone would find humor in the passing of a pet.
I agree. I almost lost my dog a few times, and I had to take him to the vet, and I didn't think he was going to make it, but he did. But I wouldn't find it humorous of any animal passing.
Well, as I said with that video, what got me was it was really funny for them. If you remember, like Lisa's getting a great joke out of this, and now they're all backpedaling and saying, "Oh, I don't find anything funny." And it was because of the number of times we heard the pet die. It's because the number of times you heard about the pet, but you just saw an opportunity to ridicule someone that you've been spending the last little while ridiculing. And sadly, it doesn't really work with us because we're good at ridiculing as well. And we can take it. If you guys want to be competing companies and have some fun, look, I got you up extolling the virtues of the little bakery on that page. So you're doing them a lot of favors. And that's, to me, rather humorous. You could get back at us with something similar. Then the public thinks that we're just two competing companies like radio stations or whatever. But no, you have to laugh at that, and in such a way that no matter what you say, no matter how you backpedal, you're a piece of shit because that's what you did. What you did was shit. So there you are.
I don't see why there has to be a competition. I think I told you before. I watch all three shows. I watch Vince's show, your show, and John's show. But I don't see why the Citizens United has to be like a competition towards you guys. Because it's not like the Edge of the Falls. You guys go out there and trash their show at all.
Well, in fairness, I know that Brett's take on it was that he found them dull. And it was kind of funny because I would produce their show more often than not. They did have some of the kids in here, but then towards the end, the kids weren't as interested in politics. So I'm sitting here, and as you can see, you're all in the studio right now. We've got multiple cameras, multiple monitors, and I'd always have a camera on him, and I sometimes kind of stare at it and go, "Is he moving?" Because he's very stoic, and that's not a put down. It's just the way he is, very calm, and he barely blinks. He's like a lizard out there, where you see a little eyelid movement. Oh, he's alive. And honestly, I almost thought, do I have to reset this camera? Did it freeze? Because he is very stoic, and that's not a bad thing. He brings about animated guests. Lisa brought some things to his show that were animated and kind of like having Peg Bundy out there, all that class and elegance. But they have their show, and I've said it to all of you in here now. I liked their show. I thought it was a good show. I think it still is a good show if it's what he was producing before. But what we saw last week was so much animosity, so much hatred, so much anxiousness to just bury this poor guy. Like, yes, he has a history with a sexual offense in it. But you know something? The kid that worked with him idolized him. He loved him because there was no alone time, nothing like that whatsoever. It was done professionally. But he loved that Hugh would talk to him in such a way as to be professional, etc. And so it's really hard sometimes when you find these things out about people you really like. And we did do the right thing. I'm not worried about that at all. Recently, one thing I've noticed is how many people are showing me messages from John Rustino they've been getting. And one of them is an exchange with the Niagara Reporter. I guess he still isn't giving up on this. He desperately wants some kind of breakthrough, like with Dick D'Angelo in our program. He still wants some kind of breakthrough that will give him recognition and respect. But that you earn that, buddy. You don't get that automatically, and you don't get it by preying on people, trying to bash them. I mean, it's all crap.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, just mean, as Susan Winchell says. And Trisha Raymond says, we're all fighting for the same thing.
I agree.
And, that's what I was going to steer into here, adjusting my chair. She's a little harder for me because I don't have Brett to flip over to so that I can run up and grab a water and stuff. Yeah. But that's cool. I'm glad you're still in the studio. But, okay, so we've got that off our chest, okay? They're turds. And they act like it. And Wade wants to threaten with lawyers. Go get them all, Wade. Your lawyers are going to, they'll take the case because they know you're going to end up paying them. But as to what you're going to come out with, be very careful. But, hey, do it. Anyway, so the future. You've been talking Vernon. And let me do a little bit of an introduction about Vernon from my background with him. I kind of got to know him by exchanging text messages back in February and March. I honestly thought Vernon was much older than he is. I thought, for some reason, I don't know why, but I thought Vernon was an older individual. And Vernon was actually very instrumental in helping guide us into what eventually became the Nick D'Angelo case.
Yes.
So, yeah, you remember that. And Vernon is kept in touch with us. He has his ear to the ground, tries to pay attention to the local politics, the struggles, the battles that are going on. So, Vernon, you've talked about possibly doing a podcast, and this is not a sales pitch. You can do it wherever you want. There's Gold Medal Studios with Wayne Van Valkenburg and all his lawyers. But they're in operation out there. I've never seen their room. So, it doesn't matter where you do it, but what are you thinking of voicing? What are you thinking of talking about? What do you think is important?
Well, I just want to state, like I said, it's not a competition, and I'm not here to. I wouldn't be on my show to bash anybody else's show, but I think I might have texted you like just about local politics, businesses, and just open forum of discussions and just things that are going on. Like you're saying, the battles, the struggles, but the good things as well. A little bit of everything.
Well, that's a good thing. Think of some guests in your mind. I'm sure you've been thinking of this when you've been considering doing a show. What guests do you think the people need to listen to right now? Like who do you think? You don't have to give names, but positions they're in or places they work at. What do you think the people need to hear right now to help them acquire more strength and confidence as citizens here?
Oh, I think that they need to trust certain city council members and certain lawyers and certain elements of people in this, not just this city, but the county as well.
Right.
And that will guide them to make the right choices. Because, I think, there's a lot of stuff that goes on that a lot of people don't know about. You know what I mean? For example, like the Nick D'Angelo thing. I think a lot of people didn't know about that until, we revealed it. And then that brought other women to come forward to, I guess you could say we gave them the strength to come forward to file charges, So I think there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the city, and I just hate for certain people to get mixed up with the wrong type of people and think a certain way when there's a lot of good people out there that'll push you in the right direction and give you the right answers, and you know what I mean?
Well, here's a quick example drawn from exactly what happened. One of the common threads or common comments that was made to Noel, who brought the first case against Nick, was like, well, there was no police case. There was no going forward. When you've been indoctrinated by someone, when you have been repeatedly told that they have influence with the local police, that's like the last place you're going to go. And it wasn't until the state police took over the investigation that these women felt comfortable enough moving forward. They realized they weren't walking into an old boys club, and I don't just mean males, but into like the established practices here.
Yeah,
and
I agree. And I tell people the same thing you said. It wasn't until the state police took over that investigation that they felt comfortable because, I mean, the Niagara Falls Police Department, not just the Niagara Falls Police Department, but in a city like Niagara Falls where everybody knows everybody, whether that's a politician, a lawyer, or a police officer, it's just everybody knows everybody, and sometimes that's good, but sometimes that's bad,
Mm-hmm.
And like Nick D'Angelo, like him using his job as a lawyer and connections with the local courts and the police department, these women were scared, and, I'm just glad we're starting to see some justice, and on March 8th, I'm hoping to be there as well, and we'll be allowed in the courtroom, hopefully.
Well, and the wheels of justice, they move kind of slowly, but some people on one side are saying, man, it's taking forever. On the other hand, there's a lot of evidence being presented, and in fairness, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. I may posture otherwise, but I would never dare challenge the court to say, this is open and shut. It's going to be a tough case, and on the 8th, it's just going to be another hearing. He may enter a plea, he may not, whatever it is. It takes time for these cases to kind of unravel and be, shape themselves. And as you know, there are other developments going on with that.
Yeah, and I don't mind telling you this because I know I told you this before the show started, and I was just shocked. I mean, maybe going forward there will be, but I'm just, on Nick D'Angelo, of his actions, I'm just surprised there wasn't like a mental health psychological examination by the courts saying, you know, we need a psychological examination on him because of his actions. I mean, that to me doesn't sound normal that he would do this to not just women, like, well, he raped them, but like just the way his character is towards other people in this community is like,
Yeah.
you know, to me it's just like I'm shocked at a lot of things. The court didn't, you know, no bail with no restraining order, no psychological, no ankle bracelet.
Well, in fairness, the 3 women whose charges were brought forward by the DA, they have restraining orders against him, and that includes third-party contact, meaning he can't have someone come visit them and try and negotiate something. And Noel's case is still moving forward and may still yet be brought against him as part of the criminal proceedings. But the DA told me herself that she is fuming that he was not given bail or even sent to jail because, this is it, though. This is the old boys club. Remember, we walked into that courtroom that day, and there was no name on the court docket. A lot of people expressed surprise at that. There usually is a list of names. The other thing was that, even the secretary of the grand jury who saw me standing with the 3 women, her question twice over was, how did you find out about this? Like, I'm sorry, it really felt like somebody was covering this up. And, you may not be able to hide the crime, but boy, you can do it a lot more quietly and not have a big media circus. And, well, we kind of put an end to that.
Yeah, because I think I told you last time, the morning of the arraignment, I got a text from somebody I know from the public defender's office. I didn't even know he was being arraigned, and then I text somebody I know over at the Gazette, Niagara Gazette, and he said he was there with you guys outside the courtroom trying to get in. And like I said, it's just they tried to keep it quiet. That morning, I didn't know until he was already in there, And like you said, they were just kind of trying to keep it quiet, hush, hush.
Well, it's, he did work he volunteered on the campaign of the DA as she applied or ran for and successfully became a county judge. He worked apparently on the mayor's campaign, and we haven't even heard that. Oh, got something really loud outside too. It's probably Brett driving around the building.
Yeah. Yeah. My question is, I might have asked you this before. Do you think like Nick D'Angelo? Do you think by him like befriending, like working on the mayor's campaign or the current DA who successfully is the county judge now? Do you think by him, volunteering his time with them, do you think he felt safe, like by what he was doing in like raping these women or sexually assaulting them? Do you think if he that was his goal, like if I befriend these people, I'll be okay even if I get caught? Do you think that was what he was thinking? Or
well, I think you might be onto something there. I think what happens is that Nick D'Angelo, from what I have learned over his entire history, now I have seen messages and writings from people who knew him as a kid, who knew him as a teenager, who went to law school with him, and it seems to be this ongoing pattern that he was a creep all the time. He just, maybe he had an awkward way with women, maybe he views women in almost dangerously, if you will, but I can't speculate on that. I don't know his psychological profile, but what I can say in deference to what you're saying is that when he got involved in things like the DA's campaign, he was then working part-time at the social services building as an attorney, and he was connected in with people like the mayor. You feel you've got some latitude. One of the best examples I can give is back in June of 2019. I was driving on Hyde Park Avenue, and this car went through the school zone at like 3 times my speed, and didn't care that school was in session, and it had a Restaino for mayor on the back. So I wrote to Mr. Restaino's mayoral campaign page. He hadn't been elected yet. And I said, is this what your supporters think, that they're going to be protected when you're the mayor? I've got the Restaino flag on my car, so the cop will let me go. And they apparently took action against the individual, but you never know. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I really think he felt he was connected, and that's the whole thing. You've got people who feel, you hear it in those mob movies. Oh, he's a connected guy. He's in the inner circle. He's one of us.
Yeah.
And sure, I think he feels safe or felt safe. He was also the editor of the Reporter. And what's interesting with the Reporter was that there was a case back in the summer of a young lady who was assaulted by 4 teenage girls, and then apparently had urine dropped on her, and 2 wrestlers came to her aid. And evidently Nick D'Angelo was snooping around with some of the kids, whether he was looking for a story for the Reporter. I know they said he broke the story or brought it to public light. But then I got a call from a very close friend who works in theater with me, because her best friend was one of the mothers, and said, this guy creeps us out. So he's sniffing around like God knows why, but they're young women, and so you only have to think you've got to protect them, make sure he's not left alone with them or anything like that. So I don't know. The whole thread I've read about him is he's been a creep his whole life.
Yeah, I've heard that as well, And unfortunately, most people change once they're arrested like he was the first time, and, turn their lives around and learn from their mistakes, but unfortunately he has not.
Well, yeah, the big mistake in high school only led to more mistakes, and there's people who are going to be held accountable for the fact that, think of it back then, he was under the auspices of a judge who said he was going to keep an eye on him, and he had a very effective attorney, one of the most well-respected defense attorneys in the area, and he was, he probably walked away thinking he got away with it. I wrote to his attorney, Paul Cambria, for comment when Nick was saying that, I was railroaded and I'm going to go back and deal with this case. And his attorney wrote me, I still have the email, of course, and said something to the tune of, he received a favorable sentence and was satisfied with the outcome. That, to me, favorable meant it could have been a lot worse for him.
Yeah, I agree.
So... What do you do, though? You've got people, you've got a community here. You go back 50 years, it was Magadino. If you were connected with the mob, you were safe, right?
Yeah.
And then in the last whatever number of years, it's been the power brokers, the people who basically give out positions. It could be a mayor. I'm not saying the mayor, but I'm saying from a mayor's position. Counselors don't have that kind of influence and that they can give away plum positions the way a mayor or an administrator can, but you've got sort of this inner circle of people in Niagara Falls, the shakers and the movers, the people who kind of control the power here.
Yeah, I agree. I was just gonna move forward onto a few other things. I know.
Yeah, go for it.
We only have 10 minutes left.
Yeah, we can take as much time as we want. It's my studio. No, no, but seriously, go ahead with what you're thinking.
Well, I know I discussed a little. I'm pretty excited when I saw the Niagara Gazette. Chris Mazer has the city attorney has announced for. That he's running for city court judge. And, I was impressed with his resume only because, I've heard a few people, tell me, oh, he's a city attorney. What does he know about criminal law or drug courts and things of that nature? But if you look at his resume, it's very impressive, and I think that's going to shock a lot of people. It's right up there on the lines of Dominic. Dominic's main practice is criminal law, so I would say Dominic's obviously more qualified, but he's pretty close, second place, as
right.
So I was just really impressed with his resume, and I hope he's very successful as well, because I personally would like Dominic or Chris to win the city court judge race myself, based off their resumes, and I know Janelle Faso is running as well, but I just don't think her resume matches compared to those two, because I know Janelle has not been in criminal law for over 30 years like Dominic. So
right.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up.
So you think that Chris Mazer's, it's a good thing he's thrown in?
Yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, some people say he's in with the mayor. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, depending who you ask. But yeah, I was really happy that because for weeks or not even for weeks, for about a month, I heard people mention his name that he's going to run, but I kept saying to myself, when's this guy going to announce, you know? Because the sooner he announces, the sooner you can start making phone calls and going door to door, you know?
Yeah, good point. You know, I'm glad you've got enthusiasm for that. I have to admit, I don't know the candidates for mayor, for judge as well as I should, and I will get to know them better. But it's good to hear your endorsement of Chris Mazer. That's good to hear. Thank you.
Then the only other thing I was going to ask, and I don't know what your opinion is on it, is you know, when I called into the Vince's show and talked to Mayor Rustino about the police chief, you know, I asked him, like, are you looking for candidates, or are you accepting resumes or interviews? And he said yes, but at the same time, the only thing that was, I don't know, I asked him, like, could he give any names? And he said, you know, not at this point. It's like naming somebody for, like, who's going to be the next head coach, you know. Nobody wants that type of publicity. But at the same time, I know when the city of Lockport, when they were looking for a new police chief, they named four candidates that were interested in that position. But, you know, at I think it was the public library there, they had the citizens come to the to like a city meeting, and they voiced of who they thought out of those four candidates would be best for the city to represent the city as a police chief. So I thought that was great, and I'm just surprised, like, here in the city of Niagara Falls, like, the mayor is not doing the same thing, saying, here's X amount of candidates. I want the public to come to City Hall or come to the public library and voice your, not your concern, but voice who you think would be the best, you know, because if I understand right, it's the mayor, it's an appointed position. He appoints the police chief in the end.
Right.
But I think it's a good thing to have your citizens of the city to come and say who they think would be best suited for the the police chief position. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I couldn't agree more. I think the city, I think citizens need to be consulted more on the major decisions being made for them. You know, chief of police is a big thing. You know, I can share one story about that on the chief of police situation. I don't think I'm talking about the one who left recently. But back in 2017, I was working with Brett at his restaurant on 3rd Street. It's called Nashville North, and we did a show there for tourists. And one time we had a horse there. It was a promo day. It was part of Memorial Day weekend. We were with Ken Tompkins and his he did the Memorial Day parade. And so we had this rider and horse who brought the horse through the parade, and then we brought the horse back and put it out in front of the restaurant, tied it off. We had a proper area for it, and people could come up. We had crowds of people coming to interact with this horse. It was really cool. Kind of back when I think it was Mayor Lackey used to ride a white horse in the city. Yeah. And so we had this event, and this police officer shows up, tells us we have to remove the horse. And we asked why, and he said the chief of police gave me a call. So somebody influences the chief of police, because he got a call that said, well, they got a horse there. We kind of know who it was, but it's just somebody who doesn't like to see anything else happening that's fun. But here they were, the public were loving it, and people, it was just a different dynamic. It was Memorial Day weekend, right. And you've got the chief of police has to send an officer down because something nice is happening. So not 3 days later, a man, sadly, who was derelict and definitely down on his luck, was lying on the bench, same bench that the horse was tied to, had a open bottle of liquor that was draining as he was holding it beside the bench. He'd fallen asleep. He had become ill and was sick all over himself. And what amazed us was that same concerned citizen who felt such a threat from the horse couldn't call and maybe get help for this one downtrodden man. And so that's what most people want our tourists to see. They don't want to see a horse or interaction or something fun. They want to see the urban blight of our city. That's okay. They don't call the chief of police about that. But what that is that we know that the chief of police can oftentimes take those personal contacts and react to them in such a way that I want to start holding them accountable.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, that's terrible. Like you're saying, like something fun and for tourism, like, that person, but like when there's something serious of an ill man or whatever the medical issue was, like he didn't call the police chief or anybody to assist that gentleman. So yeah, I don't understand how some people think, but
Well, I guess what my general point would be, yes, I would love to see the citizens interacting. I'd love to see in the choice of a chief of police and who the candidates are, because I'd like to see that chief of police realize they're not just accountable to their friends.
yeah,
They're accountable to the citizens here.
good point. And like I mentioned to other people, it's not like I have an issue with John Rustino, the current intern. I mean, John Faso. I apologize, John Faso, the intern police chief right now. But I would just like to know who his other candidates are, so you can compare all their resumes and say, okay, who is the best candidate out of these four, out of the four we have sitting in front of us, just like the mayor, when all all three mayors were up there and everybody got to come and ask him questions, and that I feel like that's how you do it.
The panel discussion.
Yeah, the panel.
Yeah, you probably didn't see the funny ones we put up, the memes we did of Mayor Rustino, but he always looked kind of distant at those things. But you're right. It was an opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Elder, Mr. Shaloki, and Mr. Rustino.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what we need for the police chief. Just go and ask the questions, look at the resumes, and just voice your opinion. I mean, Mayor Rustino still may not listen, or he still may have somebody in the back of his mind, even though more citizens are saying you should go with candidate A than B. He still may favor B, but at least we have the opportunity to say, who we want as our police chief, who we feel comfortable with of reaching out to if we have a problem in the city.
Well, and that's well put. It's what we feel about the person that is at the top of the organization that is paid to protect us.
Right.
And that's I got a comment here. Carly Lapp says, I agree, Vern. Facebook Live it so more people can attend. And that's something we wrote to the mayor about several months ago. John Spambauer, one of the councilmen, was aware of it because we gave him an idea for a program for inspecting homes in the city. And I had written to the mayor at Mr. Spambauer's encouragement as well, just to drop the gloves and say, what can we do? What can we do to help? We're a full operation studio. We've got portable stuff. We can come out and do anything you want Facebook Live for you. And we even titled it "Drop the Gloves." Like, okay, we'll stop poking fun at you a bit. Anyway, but we got no response whatsoever because the mayor's somewhat aloof in that way. I've learned this, and so but we try. That's all you can do. I can send emails to the other podcasts and say, "Look, guys, why don't we get back to professional interaction?" And whatever they do, that's what shows you their quality. But by at least making the overture to the mayor, to that, it allows us to have the higher ground.
Yeah, I agree. And all those city council meetings when citizens were allowed to come and voice their concerns, I mean, on some of those city council meetings, a lot of people voiced their dissatisfaction, and I won't say who told me it. I heard it from a couple people, Chris, the city council member, he was the chairman.
Chris Vaccio, right?
Chris Vaccio. A lot of citizens were complaining about potholes and how dirty the city is, and somebody said he got so disgusted he walked out, or he was going to walk out. And you're elected in that position to represent these people, and even if they're dissatisfied with how the city is being ran or whatever the issue is, you still got to sit there and listen to these people, to get up and walk out, or be saying to yourself I'm going to get up and walk out of here because I'm sick of hearing this. That's not professional. That's not the way to.
He had a bunch of things like that. Do you remember when he was? I guess it was the end of a meeting, and he was giving this glowing praise of the mayor because I don't know. He seemed to really want to butter him up, and as he started doing it, people heckled him from behind. And he says, you try and do something nice. And he adjourned the meeting right away and left. You know, he sounded like the soup Nazi from Seinfeld. You know, no counsel for you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if he has a anger problem or I've never heard that, but yeah, I just look at things like you know, especially if I'm being paid for a position to represent the people, I was elected. You know, I'm going to sit here and listen to their concerns. I may not agree with it, but or maybe there's something I can't do about that issue, unfortunately, because. But I still got to sit here and listen, you know, for him to like adjourn it or just to walk out. That's just shows his quality of a person, you know.
Right.
And yeah.
No, it's been great tonight because we've had really good input as well. But one good one I remember seeing a few minutes ago I wanted to share with you. Jim Costanzo, he runs JCTs. They do a lot of the T-shirts behind me and stuff. Jim is a great guy, and he said that, you know what else moves slowly? Because we were talking about the wheels of justice move slowly, and he says, time, when you're doing time for sexual assault. So, way to go, Jim. That was a good one. And, yeah, and Kim Guthrie says if everything keeps going up, people will leave New York State. That's quite true as well. It's a tough world we're in right now, and I think that a lot of these people are, you know, fed up with the elite. Like, I don't know why, but Madman makes this great point from time to time when he says, why are so many Congress people and senators millionaires? You know, it's true. Like, when you get into power, you now have the means, you now receive things that, you know, I'm sure we don't hear about all of it, but it's just, that's what happens. You've got these power brokers.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And one other thing that just popped in my mind, another thing about City Councilman Chris is I won't say his name. You know who I'm talking about. I won't say his last name, but Jeff emailed me and he's like, I'm like, do you still go to those coffees with Chris, or you know, do you still have a lot of interaction with him? And he's like, no, I tend to like tell him about my dissatisfaction with the city or like what's going on. So now we're not talking, and I'm like, well, that's not the. I mean, even I've been blocked by Chris as well on Facebook. He's unblocked me, but I just don't think that's
the answer,
the appropriate way to deal with concerned citizens or citizens who are, you know, just not happy. There's a lot of us that aren't happy in this city, you know.
And there's a lot to be unhappy about. You know, it's funny, we were talking earlier when I made the comment about the mob, etc., the Megadino days. And Carly Lapp had made an interesting point. She said, say what you want about the mob, but at least they had a code. And one of the things about the mob that differs, and I'm not saying I would never want to live in an organized crime world, but the mob made a lot of decisions based on business. It was business. You know, right now, the crime that we're seeing in the streets, a lot of it is crimes of passion, crimes of anger, stupidity. Drugs are a huge issue. And that's a different rationale than you had 50 years ago. Yes, you had drugs, you had other issues at the time, but the city itself has changed. Madman often says that the people have to change because we have a lot of real scum in this city. You know, I'm not saying everyone is. I'm not saying almost everyone is. I'm saying that it's just a significant number that contribute to the crime and the other things that are going on. So, you know, and then you've got counselors trying to help. You've got, who's the new chair of council, Kenny Tompkins.
Yeah.
Bill Kennedy, who will stand up again. He's sometimes the only one who'll stand up and say no.
Yeah.
And love him or hate him. I mean, whatever you feel about a particular councilman, they can't change the world. They can authorize some changes, but they can't change our world. This is going to take all of us. It's going to take a city with its citizens. And I loved your idea. Maybe we should interview the chief of police.
Right. I agree with that. I mean, Lockport did it, and at least the citizens got to show up and voice their concern. And that's what it's all about, you know, just the citizens showing up and voicing their concern. That's all, you know. And the mayor, since it's an appointed position, he's going to choose that whatever candidate he chooses. But we still should have a right to show up and voice our concern and take a look at all the candidates he's interviewed or so far, you know.
I'd like to know the questions that are asked, the criteria that's used.
Yeah, I agree. And
You know,
even when I spoke to, he's newer. You mentioned his name.
John Spanbauer?
Yeah, John Spanbauer. I asked him about the police chief, and right away he's like, "Oh, John Fossil is an excellent candidate, qualified for the police chief." And I'm not saying he's not. By all means, I'm not saying he's not. But who else is out there that they're interviewing? I'd like to know their names and their background of in law enforcement. So that's all all personally I'm asking, and I'm sure maybe there's a lot of other citizens out there that are wondering the same thing I am right now,
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I remember one time I've had a lot of knee operations. I remember one time I was going to have my first knee replacements, and the referring doctor said to me, "Oh, this guy's great. He did Bobby Orr's knees." Famous hockey player, and I said, Bobby Orr never played again. But when it comes to police chief, what is their background? What did they? Is there military? Is there urban? Have they been in a major city before? Are they coming from a small town, and this is going to be culture shock for them?
Yeah, I agree.
And so. So we got a lot that we can do. We're just really glad to have you on, Vern, to kind of do part 2 of your opportunity to come in and see the studio. Always a great friend of us and friend to everyone else. And, we don't draw lines. We don't say don't go somewhere. We want you to just keep being who you are in the community.
Yeah, I agree.
And Patty, I know we've been keeping you a little quiet over there. You want to say something to everyone before you go? I think she does. Stand by.
Not to go back to the situation with Brett's dog, but one day in question, I had actually called Brett, and Brett told me that his dog had had a seizure and had to take it to the vet. This is one day that they're claiming that his dog had died. There was nothing ever said about that. And I'm figuring my name's going to come out saying that I started this, saying that his dog died. But I did not. I said his dog had a seizure and had to go to the vet, that his daughter was freaking out over it. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, I do look forward to, doing my own show, and, and there's no, I want everybody out there that's listening, there's no question that's off the table at all. Politics or any question they may have, there's no question I wouldn't feel comfortable of answering. Like you guys are straightforward and honest, So I was just going to mention, 2 council members that I talk to a lot and I feel comfortable with. You mentioned Ken Tompkins and Bill Kennedy. I talk to them a lot, and I feel the same as them. There's no question off the table that I feel they wouldn't answer.
Right. They're good. They each is different, and nobody is perfect. I didn't come on here today to go on a rant and rave and say that I'm perfect and this other podcast shouldn't be taking shots at us. And Kim Guthrie, yes, I will tell Brett he's in your thoughts, and to everyone who's expressed encouragement and support to him today. That's tough. That dog was amazing, and we wrote a musical about it, so I know his closeness to the dog. And when you watch that video, you see the callousness of it, and you realize that, you want to hurt people, folks. You really don't hurt them when you do that. You galvanize people's thoughts about you, and you help them understand that they were right when they thought ill of you just for doing that. But back to the way we are. We're not perfect, and this show isn't perfect. And we try and be fun. We try and be upbeat. We're going to get back to that. We got some great skits coming up. We did have a word of the day today. Maybe I'll have to end with that.
Yeah.
But because we like the word of the day, don't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we still got enough people who want to watch it. And yes, someone said it's unacceptable what Wade did and said about Brett's dog. When I watched him ranting and raving today, I'm gonna get my lawyers. It's the very same thing he did to another individual on his show last week and afterwards. All they've done is bash us and say you hid. It's like that old line. You want to incriminate someone. You say, how long have you been beating your wife? Because no matter what they answer, it's going to sow the seeds that this person beats their wife. And so they keep trying, they keep communicating on it, but there's nothing here. Trust me, we are under a different kind of scrutiny, especially since the Nick D'Angelo case. We are very open in what we are here, and we operate ethically and we operate legally. And yeah, we had someone here who was hosting a show trying to make his community better. Who in the hell says that anyone, a sexual offender, someone who steals from, or someone who takes undue food stamps, you don't lose your right to an opinion. You don't lose your right to a voice. Yes, we would never have someone in with our children, and never alone. We don't have anyone with our kids alone in this program, and it's only on Thursdays. He was never here. But the way you hear them talk about it, oh man, we were just derelict in our duty and negligent and et cetera. And it's too, you put in the energy just to say, look, it wasn't true, and we played the parents themselves. Imagine how they felt. They watched as Wade says, we notified the parents, and they looked at each other like, not us, because you're making blatant lies. And Jim says, but God bless Wade with ball cancer. But no, I don't wish him evil. What I'd like to say is maybe he and his parrots will all decide, look, let's just leave well enough alone. Like, you want to tangle with us, we can fight you in different levels if we have to, or compete or combat what you're doing. That's easy. I mean, they were talking about punching up, like they were really trying to make it sound like they had the high ground. And sadly, no. From what we watched you, you're real. Right now, you suck, and that's not journalism. It's not investigative. It's cheap shots. It's schoolyard. It's crap. It's Jerry Springer. And by the way, I'm probably the only one of us who's ever spoken to Jerry Springer personally. I was never on his show, but I did talk to the man one time, and I got a real feel for how he makes his show. And I don't ever subscribe to that level. I want to be a lot better than that. So with that being said, I'm going to line up word of the day to end off. And while I do, Wade, you got any parting comments for everyone? I said, Wade. Vernon, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's why I didn't respond.
Yeah, I know. Well, let's just see if Wade's got any parting comments.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my lawyer. Oh, sorry. It's yeah. Go get your lawyer, buddy.
No, I don't really have any parting comments. Maybe I'll be on next week, or maybe we can get my show started in a couple weeks here,
Whenever you're ready. And, what we'll do, we've got Sam Archie taking over community accountability. Sam and Dave. I haven't met Dave yet, but I do know Sam. And it's going to be exciting. That's going to be another good local voice, a strong voice for the community. We've got Crystal Ann, who's leading a women's show now called Glass Roses. And when you meet her, there's this beautiful etched crystal to her. It's going to be a really powerful experience. That's another good show. We've got a couple of others coming along as well that have come forward. We just want voices out there. We don't count the ratings. We don't get into that battle because right now none of us are at a point where we're worth anything to an advertiser in this market. We are very close, but I wouldn't claim that we are going to do anything for an advertiser in this market.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me just find here. Bear with me because this is great. I went and missed it when Brett left. So, no. Wow. I don't believe it. I can't find it. So, that being said, why don't we just hold off and we'll show word of the day next week.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, it's
All
too
right.
bad we couldn't find it, though.
Give me one last chance to look.
Yeah, we want word of the day.
All right. We want word of the day.
We want word of the day.
Hang on. Word of the day, sniveling. Word of the day, fake. Word of the day, pedophile. They were all about Nick.
You do word of the day about Nick. That never gets old.
Yeah, we can do that. I'll put one on. If I can find the other one, I'll put it on right afterwards.
So is that who Wade hired for his lawyer, was Nick D'Angelo?
No. I don't know if Wade hired Nick D'Angelo. That could be funny. By the way, I had another scam call today. I called up a group that was telling me something was coming from Walmart. I had a lot of fun because I convinced them that somebody was somebody else from the company had called me at the same time. And I was going back and forth between the conversations, and I had her just totally freaked out. But, oh, darn, I can't find it. I'm so sorry. Can I? Oh, no. Where did we put this? And I can't look for it right now. I know we have. Oh, wait a minute. There it is.
There it is.
All right.
Oh, this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, well, let's have some fun with this. I'm going to put it where I can reach it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We miss Ohio Barb. She's been on sick leave. We're back tomorrow evening. The New York Watchmen are going to be on. On Thursday, we have a night with a medium. And unless it's me, then it's a night with a large. But and then on Friday, we've got Niagara Voices returns with Johnny Handsome and Carrie. We call her Bubbles. And the shows are just rolling. If you haven't seen it already, you should see the Black Reality Unscripted that we had yesterday. It was brilliant. And why are we running into this problem? Food stamps. Oh. Well, I cannot find it. I can't believe it. I've been looking around for this, and now I'm really sad because this was a good one too. That's not it. That's a darn. So embarrassing. Not as embarrassing as threatening, to get my lawyer. Maybe I should do that. I should threaten it with my lawyer. Where are you? Show up or I'm going to call my lawyer. Where's my lawyer? Oh, there's all kinds of words of the day in here. No, these are all the still images we used to make them. So, hang on. See, I need to find the one that says food stamps. And it's not in here. Oh, and yes, you know what it was. It was about food stamps. But we don't have it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have word of the day. I think we'll have word of the day back and next week. And we will be back on with the Madman and our regular show next week. And we hope you had a really good time. We tried our best to find the word of the day that we made today, but we can't find it. There you go. So we'll find it next week. Thank you, Vernon Lohan, for being on. Thank you, Patty, for joining us for the first time. And thank you for tuning in. God bless everyone, and we'll see you. And tune into our site. Watch all the excitement of Wade's lawyers. I guess they're really a great team because they're going to rewrite the law and then enforce it. Go figure. Bye now.